What is good, guys? Today we have the final tier list for Tekken 8 Season 1. I'm doing this now because there's probably not going to be any meaningful patches for a while, at least until Season 2. Let's just get right into this. First things first, let me get these guys out of the way, innit? Nina, Yoshimitsu, Dragunov, Jin, and Shaheen. This is my top 5. 1 to 4 are all interchangeable. Shaheen though is just straight up 5. Nina to me is the best character in the game. More so because Dragunov fell off and someone obviously had to take the spot. But yeah, everything this character does is ridiculous. Like if I was to go through Nina's move list, I could genuinely find like 20 broken moves off rip. Like it wouldn't even be that hard. Back 2-2 is one of the dumbest moves in the game. Homing highs with a counter hit launch final hit. Dumb jab strings. Down forward 1-2 into sidestep 1 is AIDS. Sidestep 1 in general is just AIDS. Blonde bomb is AIDS. Wipe the floor is AIDS. Guns do broken damage and broken chip damage. Free health delete in chain throw. This character probably has the best pressure in the game. She can literally just poke you to death, wait for you to retaliate and blow you up. It's so straightforward. Just a clear number 1 in my opinion. Yoshimitsu. I think we all know by now that Yoshimitsu is just fundamentally broken. The Oki is too much. 1+2 or forward 1+2, whatever is the move that can hit grounded, hits grounded, can heat dash to make it safe. You mix this up with the launching unblockable low sweep, which is just horrendous gaming. Flash be flashing. 1-1 is arguably broken. That one broken tech trap where when you're on the floor, he pulls back his sword and like hits you down. You either get blown up or you just take fat chip damage. There's no in between. That needs to be removed. I don't like to think that was intentional. I find it hard to believe that something that stupid was like an intended trap. But you know, we move. Yoshi just be Yoshiing, man. The thing is with this character, and I'm gonna keep saying this, is that characters like Yoshimitsu and Ling, like setup characters, are not supposed to have high damage just because of the ease that they can reset you or tech trap you or do some other bullshit. It doesn't make any sense. A lot of Yoshi's issues can simply be fixed by lowering his damage way down. Of course his Oki kind of needs to be toned down slightly, and the dumb sword thing needs to be changed. Aside from that, Yoshi is just doing what Yoshi has always done, except it now hits harder than Joe Breezy's dementia. Dragunov. We all know what Dragunov does. He's got nerfed, 3-4 or back 3-4, whatever the two kicks are. They lost their practically 360 tracking, which definitely hurt Drag. However, he's still a walking 50-50. Sneak 4, despite being nerfed 3 times, is still arguably the best move in the game. If Nina has the best pressure in the game, then Drag is probably number 2. Infinite moves that are plus, good homing mids and highs. Down 2 is basically a homing low poke. Down back 3+4 is a power low that gives another mix on hit. Drag is just oppression the character. Bro is literally a slave owner. Moving on. Jin is another idiot with brain dead idiot pressure. Dive kicks are legitimately broken. It doesn't matter that you can step them. They're busted. And every Jin player that is worth anything showed that in Tekken World Tour. This character is also a walking 50-50 like most of the high tiers in this game. 2-1-4 is outright busted. The thing people like to say about Jin, and I have been guilty of this myself, is that Jin has bad lows. Jin does not have bad lows because Jin has down 2. It doesn't even matter that this move is reactable. Because if you get hit by a counter hit crushing a high, or catching them moving because this move naturally crushes highs and is basically homing, the damage that you get from the combo far outweighs the damage from the punish you would have received by having this blocked. At least 80% of the time, because there are characters with I-14 while standing launchers, but you know, Jin also has down back 4, which is semi-reactable, and down 4 isn't bad either. The bad low thing is definitely overblown, and I myself overblew it. Pause. But yeah, S tier obviously. I have been saying that Shaheen is broken since 1932. It's just like nobody plays this character, so nobody can prove me right. But yeah, I'm not about to talk about why Shaheen's broken, I'm gonna be real. I have like a whole 10-minute video on why he's broken. So go watch that, I guess. That's the top 5. And this is where I stop ordering things because I'm not a tryhard. Claudio is very strong and extremely slept on. I have always been on the side that Claudio is a strong character, but I was not aware of just how good he actually is in the hands of a strong player. Firstly, Claudio is extremely basic and easy, so there's a plus there for usability and consistency. Back 2's range, evasiveness, and homing properties are all so jarring. Sidestep 3 is also annoying when this character's at the wall. Man, just tell your family goodbye if you're at the wall against a Claudio, because you're either getting wall splatted for 700 damage, or you're getting poked by lows for the next minute until you die. His frames on hit are just so good. If you get hit by something, you're kind of just waiting to block something, or face the risk of dying. And even then on block, his frames are so good too. So if you do try to retaliate, holding some kind of evasive wall splat is extremely likely. Also, the damage output in heat is crazy, and his heat smash is crazy. It's a low, very cringe character to be honest, definitely very strong. Law is also fucking absurd. Stupid poking ability, which he's always had, but also now he has nunchucks to catch steppers, which is annoying as hell. Easy mode DSS will always be annoying. He's a slide character, so he's got that going for him, and some of the dumbest heat in the game. Safe nunchucks, and he gets a 10 frame hit confirmable heat dash launcher. Like, aight bro, we get it. You're broken. Well, not in this case, he's very strong though. I don't actually know why we don't see more lore in tournament. I guess he's more of like a character specialist, or a specialist character, I guess. But he's definitely got some good generic stuff going for him. Who knows, very strong though. Kuma is also ridiculous. Rangchu just won Tekken World Tour 24 with him, and it's really easy to explain why. Outside of heat, this character is a poking demon in the right hands. An actual 10 frame counter hit launcher in 1-1-1. Back 1+2 is an absurd heat engager, high mid homing, very strong. Hidden bear stance is good to apply pressure with or launch the opponent, but heat is really what makes Kuma insane. He gets a mid electric and 13 frame heat smash that does fat chip damage on block. You can charge the electric to make it +8. This is incredibly oppressive, and considering this character won TWT, expect it to be nerfed, because Kuma's heat is arguably the best in the game. Very strong. Whilst we're on Kuma, let's just put Panda in Garbaggio, because this character is literally Kuma, except her heat is bad. Let's talk about someone else. Lars is pretty fucking bad. All of his pressure is pretty much fake once you know what they're doing. He's just like his adopted father Heihachi in the fact he's got no good lows as well. This is a solely mix-up character, so there's always big inconsistencies that comes with that playstyle. And the thing is, when Lars does manage to get a mix-off, like the reward isn't even that great. This character's heat is pretty fucking arse too. Like he gets armored mix-ups, like okay, I guess I might have to hold a few mix-up lows, like oh no damn. This character is fucking butt bro. Devil Jin. Devil Jin is pretty arse. He like has close to nothing to work with. However, this is a character with mishima tools. Well, he's just a mishima. He's just a mishima. So he's not Garbaggio like most people would say he is. The thing with being a mishima is that you have a pretty high floor when someone competent is piloting. Electric is probably the best move in the game like it's always been. Demon Paw is a strong poke and Devil Jin still has a launching hell sweep. I use that term lightly because it only gives like a little bit of carry, but it's still very good. The issue with Devil Jin is just the complete lack of mids that end up making his good lows considerably worse, which is definitely an issue. There's also the fact that without heat, he is most certainly playing Tekken 7, just trying to slowly outplay the opponent and not just clicking some broken shit. He has good heat, zoning ass character. I think Devil Jin is strong, and I'm going to get a lot of cringe comments for that, but I don't care because Mishima players are cringe anyways. Whilst we're on the topic of Mishimas, let's talk about Heihachi. This character is fucking cheeks, bro, I'm sorry. If you genuinely think that Heihachi is good in this game, you might just be arse at the game, bro, I'ma be real. You're legit one of those people who looks at Warrior's Instinct and goes, oh no, he's broken. Like he doesn't get that shit once a game. And even still, it's just good. It's not even remotely broken. This character's neutral is non-existent. Everything has bad frames on block, and if it doesn't, it's hugely steppable. In fact, the whole character is steppable. No tracking. Back 4 is a tracking move, and it's a very good move, but it's -8. There's a lot of fake pressure with this character, and oh, he's got literally 0 lows. Do not try and convince me that Heihachi's Hell Sweep is a good low. Please. When he goes into heat though, he is a much better character because his stance pressure does get a bit better. I will say this character probably has the best combo damage in the game. So if you're a good Mishima player, you're thoroughly rewarded for hitting electrics. And if you can open up your opponent, his damage is good. It's just long as shit to get to. He's in the same tier as Devil Jin for me. But if this was ordered, Heihachi would probably be at the top and Devil Jin would be at the bottom. Because this does look kind of crazy looking at this. Feng is also in very strong. A lot of people would have this character in their top 5, which if you was to argue he is, I would definitely listen to you. However, the issue that I myself have seemed to recognize with this character is he's still kind of in Tekken 7. What I mean by that is he obviously just wants to poke you to death because he's Feng. But the issue with that is that it takes a while to do. And it actively gives your opponent more opportunities to make a read and just blow you up because this is Tekken 8. But in the same breath, Feng's poking is so elite that he can most definitely just pressure you to death. But similarly to Nina, just not to the same extent. He also doesn't have a standout 50-50 like basically all the elite characters in this game have. So yeah, for me he's definitely still like top 10, but top 5 no. Don't get me wrong, this character still has bullshit like Kempo, and shoulder into heat dash is cancer. But you know, I would say Jack 8 is just mid. This character isn't bad. It's just he doesn't really work. Like his moveset will make it seem like he's a rushdown kind of character, but his stance pressure just isn't that good. And he kind of relies on that to get damage. He really has to force stuff to get going. He has some good heat though, I will give him that. Most notably a 10 frame heat smash, which is insane. But yeah, Jack 8 is hella mid, man. King is very strong. This is another character that people will try and tell you is way more broken than he actually is. And don't get me wrong, he is extremely strong, but top 5, no way. Not even scratching that. His poking is annoying as hell. Down forward 2-1 tracks to his weak side and you get a pick up on counter hit. Forward neutral 2 gives a cutscene on counter hit. Forward neutral 1+2 gives a follow up on counter hit. Muscle armor is pretty fucking cracked. Good jab string, good down forward 1. That one move that's like +1000 that gives him enough frames to get off a throw attempt. Of course the threat of hugely damaging throws is always going to be annoying as hell. Jaguar sprint is also great. Is it broken? Not really. Is it scrubby? Yes. I still don't think you should be able to cancel it. But just a great all-around character. Now let's look at Ling. My opinion has kind of changed on this character slightly. It's kind of hard for a Ling player to get going when a player knows the matchup well without doing some kind of nonsense that can get you killed instantly. It's probably why most online Lings just end up being so flowcharty, although AOP is still very much just as absurd as it's always been. AOP actually crushes Steve's down forward 2, which you think would be a low hitting mid, but apparently not. This character would honestly be mid as fuck if her heat wasn't so fucking busted. Like to me, this has to be like top 3 heat in the game. Like we like to talk about how broken Lydia gets when she's in heat, but like hello, Ling is more or less doing the exact same shit, bro. The hypnotist 50-50 she gets in heat is like the low option just outright launches and the mid option is +5 into another 50-50. And if it hits, you're into another 50-50 and it will splats. Like it's literally some of the most brain dead activities in the game. It's also why Ling players have an average of 30 defense. But yeah, very strong character. Jun is just strong, I think. She's another character where it's kind of tricky to open up the opponent. Although she does have some strong defensive stuff like can, which is safe, parries and nonsense, sabakis. Also has some bullshit like full screen heat smashes and shit. She's just not really stand out to me. Pretty middle of the pack. Now Kazuya, her husband, is so freaking annoying. Arslan Ash has this guy at like the bottom of mid tier. And I'm just like, bro has to be on some type of crack, bro. Literally the most brain dead iteration of Kazuya we have ever had. To any degree. It's not even fun to play. At least for me. This is not a hard character. Your sole goal is either to get a knockdown or go into heat, and then you just snowball, bro. It's not rocket science. Down back 1-2 heat dash is annoying. Forward 2 heat dash, so annoying. Its forward 2 also gets improved tracking in heat for some jank reason. Like, people tend to complain about his combo damage, but like, 1, just do a combo that goes to the wall and you'll get all of that damage anyways. And 2, hit a fucking electric and say that again. Bro, this character is very strong. Extremely lame character, I'm gonna be honest. Paul is mid, bro. Here's the thing, right? Paul has always been a character that scales on how good you are at the game, right? He has these super basic tools that are just effective. The thing is, why would you play Paul in this game when you're rewarded so much more for so much less brain cells? And this is clearly the case in the highest levels of play as well, because who the fuck is playing Paul? I don't think this character has had a top 3 placement in any tournament this year. Mid, bro. I think Eddie is also mid. This guy is literally a trip to Las Vegas, the character. Straight casino. It's as simple as that. If you guess right, you win. If you guess wrong, you're dead. I put Lars in trash tier for having solely relying on this style of Tekken. However, Eddie actually does get rewarded for hitting mix-up. And he does have a high power crush heat engager, which is just a broken tool to have in this game. And that just puts him comfortably in mid for me. Now let's talk about my boy Steve. Steve has been so underplayed for a ridiculous amount of time. This character has been good since they fixed Lionheart. Duck cancel pressure is good. Stance pressure is good. Quan is a good move, although the -12 glitch is still there. British Kempo is fantastic. Steve can just be really hard for an opponent to hit through the combination of back 1, British Kempo, and even down forward 2 is still technically a good counter hit. The thing is, to get the most out of Steve, you have to be like Jesus or something. And my logic has always been, if there is one person who makes a character look broken and nobody else can play the character isn't broken, the player is. In this instance, I'm talking about Numan. This man will make Steve look ridiculous. But every other pro player who originally played him dropped him, right? And even in ranked, you can barely see Steve because he's just hard to play. So for me, Steve is strong. Definitely high-end strong, borderline very strong. Bryan is easily one of the dumbest characters in the game. But Bryan mains have somehow bamboozled everyone into believing that this character just isn't that good for almost a whole year now. Like, people are finally coming around to the fact that Bryan is actually really goofy. But fuck it, you took long enough. The thing with this character is, if you make one mistake, you are dead. If Bryan manages to get a launch in any way, his wall travel is so good, and he has the most damaging wall ender in the game, I believe. I don't know how it's remained untouched for this whole year. It's actually broken. And once Bryan gets you to the wall, it's a whole other issue in itself. He's got taunt, in heat he's got to mix up that wall splats. I don't know what those moves are classified as. Core circle forward 1+2, I think the notation is, you know, that long range elbow. And also that one high fist that has fat range. 2 annoying ass moves. The infinite counter hits this character has is so annoying. So he's always getting a launch. This character is insane and is nowhere near as hard as any Bryan main will have you believe. Very strong and on the high end. Probably a top 10 character, I'ma be real. Asuka is a character who I think is probably better than what most people seem to think. However, that by no means makes her an actual good character. She's got similar things to Jun, but you don't really block with this character. You parry, you save can and you back 3. And you're playing Tekken 8. The main issue with this character is opening up the opponent, because while she's got strong defensive tools, the offensive ones are nowhere near as good. However, if you do manage to get something going with the character, she can snowball really fast. She has genuinely some of the best Oki. Forward 2, forward 4, I think the move is. You know, the huge range homing mid. She's got the unblockable kick for if they don't retaliate on get up. With these, she can just keep knocking you down and applying pressure. It's just you have to actually get going to do any of this. Extremely mid. Leroy is actually someone who is better than what people make him out to be. He's got one major flaw in his game where his mids kinda suck. And that honestly is what holds him back a lot. Very similarly to Deviljin, but his stance pressure is very annoying. And some of the filthiest chip damage you'll see in this game. When this guy goes into heat, It's just punch times 10, punch times 10, random mid, you're dead. Super annoying heat, but in the end of the day, probably still mid, but borderline strong. Alisa is obviously very strong. Outside of heat, she's just a good Tekken character. She can poke pretty well, she has that annoying waifu movement. Her punishment is something I don't think gets talked about enough. Like, her item punisher literally puts her into chainsaw stance, which is ridiculous. Chainsaw stance just gets more broken every Tekken game we get. Full screen hits, plus on block highs, chunky lows, launching mids, it's all bullshit. And her heat makes this even more absurd, as like every one of her engages puts her into chainsaw stance, I swear. And the chip she does in heat is so absurd. This is another character where you can expect all of her players to have like 30 defense. In all seriousness, this character would probably be S tier if it wasn't for the fact a large majority of her game plan is just casino. Except the reason she's not lower on this list is she always gets reward when placing a bet at the casino, because her chip damage is so good. Also, she does have the option to play fundamental Tekken, even if it's not as good as some of the top tiers, but that is more that can be said for the other straight casino characters in the game. Victor, good. Good counter hits, good stance pressure, one of those brain dead safe high armor heat engages. What more do you need from a character? He's slightly slacking on the lows, but when he goes into heat, he gets a 45 damage low that hits you from the back of LeBron's hairline. So yeah. Also, the character's brain dead easy, which is always a plus. Very strong. Lydia. Lydia is Garbaggio, and it's simply because her gameplay is redundant if she's not in heat. All of her pressure is fake. She's got practically no ability to play small Tekken. She's just all or nothing casino. When she does go into heat, she definitely can obliterate you by actually spamming real 50-50s, but in the end of the day, if you guess right, she just wasted her heat and she loses. You can also just steamroll her before she goes into heat too, because she can't play neutral well. Pretty fucking bad character in a game with very few bad characters, which is pretty funny because she's got some of the best heat in a game where heat is broken and still arse. Anyways, moving on. Hwoarang is a very good character, but it's kind of weird for me to place him because I feel like he doesn't really hang with the characters in very strong, but I feel like he's a lot better than everyone in strong. This character's whole thing is just crash out, right? He puts you in a blender, forces you to make quick decisions, has great keep out, an extremely specialist character though in my opinion. An extremely specialist character in my opinion. His damage may make you think otherwise, as well as his mix-ups, but he is. Let's just put him in strong. I think he's very Steve tier, but Steve and Hwoarang might just both be very strong if I'm gonna be real. Azucena is a character I haven't kept track of since all of the nerfs, so I don't really know what the fuck she does. I'm pretty sure she's mid, but like I don't really know. I don't know about Raven either, but everyone calls him Garbaggio, so that's why I'm putting him. Leo, we do not care. Lee is similar to Lydia in that he only plays one side of the game. However, in his case, he has no heat. I think the heat thing is like semi-overblown in my opinion. Like, yeah, you do have the shittiest low heat smash in the game, but it's still a low that does like 40 damage or something. And forward 3 as a launcher is pretty goofy, so it's not like you don't have anything. This character's combos are good, wall damage is pretty silly, great counter hits, good pokes. He's pretty linear, his tracking isn't good, but like, this character definitely has some stuff. He's nothing special unless you're like a Lee Sweat because he's very specialist, but he's at least mid. He might even be better if he wasn't such a you only play me and nobody else type of character. Bro, I'm gonna be real. I have come to the point where I can't be arsed talking about Zafina and Leroy too heavy anymore. I've literally made like 3 videos on these guys. Zafina is strong. Reina is also in that tier. Like I said before, if only 1 or 2 people can really make your character work at the highest level, then it's more of a player thing. And it seems like nobody can fucking play Reina. Forward 2 is a good move. Stance pressure is good. Heaven's Wrath is good in heat. The thing is, it's hard to not default to a balls on the table style of play with Reina, and that's not always the best thing to do. So until someone figures out what the fuck they're doing with this character, strong, just strong. Clive. You didn't think I would talk about Clive, huh? It's a bit early to be ranking Clive, I'm gonna be honest, but my first impressions of him are kind of air. I think he's just strong. He's got back 2, forward 1+2 is a broken move, he's got good lows, The thing is, you can kind of just outpoke this character. He does have a parry and he does have a good armor move. But like, him playing neutral isn't really a thing. And you kind of need to play neutral in Tekken. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of these casino characters can't play neutral very well, and they're bad for that. So I don't really see a reason as to why Clive would be any different. And that's the video, guys. Like the video. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. And until next time, guys.